Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Maximize Your Life Bible Study. I am Minister Marcus. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. You guys are seeing this about 8:30 tonight, but it's pre-recorded today. Here in Houston, man, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but we've been dealing with the coronavirus. And man, it just has everything pretty much shut down. All the kids are going to be out of school. And jobs are starting to close up, and restaurants are starting to close and everything. So it's kind of crazy. And so thank God that we have Bible studies like this that can still reach you, and you don't have to get up and go to any physical location, but you can stay inside. You can keep your hands sanitized, and you can learn more about God. And so tonight's lesson, it comes from Luke chapter 11. We're going to begin at verse number 5. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Luke chapter 11. We're going to begin at verse number 5, and we're going to read through 10. And so it reads, "Then he said to them, suppose one of you has a friend and goes to him at midnight and says to him, 'Friend, lend me 3 loaves. For a friend of mine has come to me from a long journey, and I have nothing to set before him.' And from inside, the friend answers and says, 'Do not bother me. The door has already been shut, and my children and I are in bed. I cannot get up and give you anything.' I tell you this, even though he will not get up and give him anything because he is his friend, yet because of his persistence, he will get up and give him as much as he needs. So I say to you, ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks, it will be opened." And so tonight I want to talk about one 3-letter word, and that 3-letter word is ask. And I think it's amazing, right? Because with this principle, it's ask, seek, and knock. And if you take the first letter of each one of those words and put them together, which would be the acronym of ask, seek, and knock, brings you right back to, that's right, ask. And so that's what we're talking about tonight. And so I'm going to start by highlighting that Jesus here in this chapter is teaching his disciples about prayer. He's teaching his disciples about prayer and the importance of prayer. And I don't know if that's significant to anybody, but I do want to call you into remembrance of how many times do you engage God in prayer? Before, I didn't pray as much, and that's not a bad thing. It just kind of grew, but I didn't pray as much, and it's not because it was just discredited. Not because I didn't believe in it, but I just didn't utilize it. And so a lot of times we do go to church, and we do have Christian friends, and we do read our Bibles, but sometimes we just don't pray. And my thing is this, that for some of us, it has to kind of grow into a habit. And now I find myself praying without even really recognize that I'm praying. And so he was teaching his disciples the importance of prayer. And I had somebody come to me and ask, he said, if God already knows what I need, why do I have to pray for it? If he already knows, then that's what the Bible said. He knows what you need before you even ask. So if he already knows, why then do I have to pray for it? And I had to let him know, it's not that he doesn't know, but it's that he wants you to engage him in conversation. And so I think that's pretty significant, right? Because if he does already know, imagine that God only wants you to talk to him. He only wants you to talk to him. He wants you to engage him in conversation. And so prayer is all about the communication and the connection between you and God. And so my question is, when is the last time that you connected to God? When was the last time that you communicated with God? And so he uses this lesson, right, to highlight prayer. And we're not really going to just deal with persistence tonight. We may going to deal with that next week, but he's talking about prayer, and he uses it to illustrate prayer. A friend who came at a bad time. And I know if you like me, After a certain time, my door is closed. I don't care how many times you knock. You're gonna be sitting out there till the morning because I'm not opening it. Right. So the friend came at a bad time, and any of us probably would have left the man outside, right? But it's used to illustrate the nature of God as it relates to our prayers. And I think that's significant because it's basically showing us, right, that God wants you to engage him in conversation. He wants you to engage him. And it lets us know, it's basically saying, if this friend would do it for a friend who came at a bad time, how much more would God do it for you and me, who he really cares about? And so I think it's Jesus getting the disciples to understand that prayer is important, and God responds to your prayers. God responds to your prayers. God responds to your prayers. And I know for some of you who do pray, it seems like, right, that you can pray and pray and pray and pray, and it seems like God just does not hear the prayer. But the lesson tonight is designed to show you that when he hears it, right, he may not get up immediately, right, but he will respond to your prayers. And I want you to get this tonight, that there are some things that God wants to give to you, right? But it's going to take you first initially asking for it. Come on, say, I'm going to ask for it. I'm going to ask for it. Here's my question to you tonight. What are you praying for? What do you want God to do in your life? Do you have a goal in mind? I was in a relationship, right? And the young lady, she would always tell me, she would say, I shouldn't have to ask for it. And I agree with you on some stuff, but at the same time, understand, I'm not a mind reader, right? And my thing was, you can't be upset at me for not giving you something that you never asked for, right? And I want you to put that in the same wavelengths with you and God, right? There were some things that I wanted to give to her, right? And I would just take it upon myself to go and buy her what I felt like she should have, when in reality, if you would have told me what it is that you wanted, instead of getting you what I wanted you to have, I would have got you what you asked for. I want you to hear me when I say that. I would have gotten you what you asked for. And I think that too many times, excuse my sniffles, but we don't take the time to ask God for what we want. Here's my thing. Many times we settle for what we get without asking for what we actually want. Is that you? Is that you tonight? Is that you? Have you settled for what you have because you don't have whatever reason, for whatever the reason, you don't have the nerve to ask God for what you really want? And then, so let me put a stipulation here, right? Because there has to be a boundary. You can't ask God to give you somebody else's husband, right? It just don't work like that. You can't ask God to give you somebody else's wife. You can't ask God for things that don't belong to you, right? But what you can do is you can tell God, I want this. You don't have to ask for somebody else's wife, right? When you can ask God to send you somebody that's just for you. And I want you to understand that we have got to stop settling for what we get and start asking and going after what we want. And here's what the Bible says: we have not, y'all know the scripture, we have not because we ask not. We have not because we ask not. I think the most important thing, right, is that we have to get in the routine of asking God for what we want. And so I'm going to tell you a story. My daughter Mari, right? And so with Mari, my baby daughter, right? She's about 8 years old. And so what she does is, immediately, if she knows that I have something that she's gonna want, she'll come around, right? She'll look at me, she'll, kind of butter me up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Before she dropped the big bomb question, I'm thinking in my head, I know you want some of my French fries, right? I know you want my hamburger. And so ultimately what she does is ask. But this one particular instance, we had went on a retreat with the church, and I had brought back a box of hot chocolate. And so I left the hot chocolate on top of my refrigerator, and I was like, I'm going to give her, I'm going to give her the hot chocolate. I had intended to give her the hot chocolate because that's what she was drinking while we was on the retreat. So I know that she wanted it. So this one time when she came to the house, they visited for the weekend, She sees the hot chocolate on top of the refrigerator that I had intended to give her. And I want you to get this. I had already intended to give it to her. But when she saw it, she asked for it. And immediately when she asked for it, it reminded me that I had already intended to give it to her anyway. But I want you to get it, that her asking for it affected the timetable by which she would receive it. And I want you to get it. Even though I had it, the fact that she asked for it before that, she had never asked for it, so she never got it. I want y'all to understand that. She never asked for it, even though I had intended to give it to her, she never got it, right? And so her asking for it at that time period, I said, yes, after dinner, I'll make sure I make you some hot chocolate. Her asking brought my attention to what she wanted, and it gave her the accessibility to receive what it is that she really wanted. And I want you to hear me, because I was going to give her some juice after dinner, right? Because that's what they normally drink. But she asked for some hot chocolate. And so I want you to understand something, that sometimes God, he may want to give you something, right? But you asking for it could definitely affect the timetable by which you receive it. And so my question is, why haven't you asked for it? Why haven't you asked for it? It's not wrong to ask. Look, it's not wrong to ask. It's not wrong to ask. Oh my God. I always receive what I ask for. And a lot of times I ask for the bare minimum. I never aspired to anything. I only asked God for the bare minimum. And then I started getting upset, right? When I didn't get the things that other people had. And God said to me, you never asked me for that, right? You never asked me to give you more money in your bank. You never asked me for this. You never asked me for that. And so I was like, okay, well, how about I start asking? Come on, I don't know who I'm talking to, but maybe you should start asking. Come on, elevate your faith and ask. And so then it says, him that asks receives. Now here I want to put the stipulation, right? Because he moves from asking to seeking. He moves from asking to seeking. And I want you to get this, that sometimes you can ask for something, right, that God does not immediately give to you, because sometimes your answer comes when you seek it out. I'm going to say it one more time. Sometimes your answer comes when you seek it out. And I like to marketize it, and I say it like this, that seeking is asking with action. Seeking is asking with action. It is making the attempt to attain. And so sometimes what we do is we sit and ask. But the point I always highlight is that you can sit and ask, but you cannot sit and seek. Seeking is an action word that you have to get up and engage in. And sometimes we don't get what God would like for us to have because we don't want to get up and get it. And I like to say it like this. Sometimes we put so much emphasis on the miracle that we ignore the practical. And so I want to encourage you tonight, right? If you haven't got it by asking, right, maybe you need to start asking yourself the question, what can I do to put myself in the vicinity where I can receive it, right? And so I'm gonna use the same analogy, right? When Mari asked me for the hot chocolate, I'm gonna give you the hot chocolate, but here's the thing. The thing is, you have to come in the kitchen in order to drink it, because I don't want you to waste it on my carpet. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And that is, if you really want it, you have to get up from where you are and come to where it is that I have, the thing that it is that I have given to you. Are you understanding? Go after it. And I heard somebody on YouTube, he said, pray like only God can give it to you, but go after it like only you can make it happen. And I want to stress this, that sometimes it takes praying and being practical for you to reach your blessing. Sometimes it takes praying and being practical for you to reach your goal, for you to reach your vision, for you to complete your mission. It takes you being prayerful and being practical for you to reach what it is that God would have you to get. And I like to stress all the time that some people will never reach what God would have for them because they are not willing to take action and go after it. Some people will never reach or experience the type of life that God would have them to live because they aren't willing to take action. Here's my question. What steps could you take to bring you closer to what you prayed for? Maybe you haven't got the job because you haven't put in the application. Maybe you haven't started making more money because you haven't looked at the business side. Maybe you are, maybe your service is more. I'm saying, what could you do to show God, right, that this is what it is that I'm asking for, and I'm gonna do my part, which is seeking. Maybe what you've been praying for requires a plan of action. Requires a plan of action. Here, let me say it this way. Sometimes we ask God, right, for things that God does not give. And I always like to say it like this, like you may be asking God for a chair, and God says, I don't give chairs, but I do give trees, right? I'll supply the tree, but you have to bring your resources together, right, to create the chair. And here's what I'm saying. Sometimes we pray for things or we ask for things, and God says that some things that I will give you for asking, but the next step to asking is seeking. What if God is waiting for you to align your resources, right, to bring together whatever it is that you've been believing him for? And I want to stress this, right? Because the woman with the issue of blood says something within herself. She does not ask God anything. She does not ask Jesus anything with her words, but her actions, right? She sought God in her actions, and her actions, right, became the means by which she asked for the miracle. Notice now, the woman with the issue of blood was able to get what she needed without even asking. Why? Because she went seeking. I want you to hear me when I say that. The next step to asking is seeking. Sometimes your faith in action is the request that gets your prayer answered. Sometimes your faith in action is the request that gets your prayer answered. And I want to stress that you gotta be willing to seek. I want you to say that. Say, I gotta be willing to seek. Come on, say it again. I've gotta be willing to seek. Sometimes you gotta get up out of your chair, stop asking, and start going after it. Sometimes you gotta stop asking for it and see what resources that God has supplied you with, and start bringing those resources together so that you can get what it is that God would have you to have. I want to stress that you gotta go from asking to seeking. You got to go from, come on, say it, say, I got to go from asking to seeking. God, show me the step that I need to take. God, show me the road that I need to go. Show me the channels that I need. Show me the people that I need to connect with. Show me the network. Show me, God, the course of action that I need to take, the resources that I need to align. And finally, he says, ask. The next step to asking is seeking. And then the next step is what? You got it. Knocking. I want to point this, I want to paint this picture for you that it's pointless, right, to leave your house, get in your car, drive 30 minutes across town, right, get to somebody's house, walk up to the door, but never knock. It's pointless for you to put your clothes on, put gas in your car, drive all the way to somebody's house, to your mama's house, whoever house you're going to, get out the car, get up to the door, never ring the doorbell, or never knock. It's pointless. Why? Right? Because when you get there, the whole point of going there is so that you can get in. When you get there, you knock on the door so they know that you're there. And get it, here's the thing. They know that you're ready to come in. Me knocking lets you know, right, that I'm here and I'm ready to come in. And so here's my question, right? The only time that I knock is when I'm ready to go inside. And so most of the time when people come to my door, they knock because they want me to do what? They want me to open it. Here's my question. Are you ready for what you've been praying for? Are you ready for what you've been praying for? If I'm a knock on the door, I'm knocking because I'm ready to go in. My question is, are you ready, good God, for what you have been praying for? See, sometimes we ask God for things that we're not ready to receive. It's just like my son, and I use this all the time. It would be pointless for my son to ask me for my car, and it's because he's not ready to receive that right now at 8 years old, at 10 years old, at 12 years old. He's not ready to receive that right now, right? And so sometimes we ask for things, right, that we're not ready to receive. Somebody may be praying for for a husband, right? But you're not ready to be a wife. Somebody's praying for a wife, but you're not ready to be a husband. You're praying for more finances, right? But you don't know how to correctly use and utilize the flow of wealth, right? Except to spend it, right? Sometimes we ask God for things that we're not ready for, praying for a promotion, right? But you're not ready for the responsibility of the promotion. And here's my question: are you ready for what you have been praying for? Are you ready for the responsibility of what you have been praying for? Are you ready for the task of the title that you've been praying for? Sometimes God does not give us what we ask for because we're simply not ready to receive it. He says, when you ask, you seek. When you go beyond that, seeking is knocking. Knocking lets God know that I'm ready to get whatever it is that I've been praying for. Maybe more right now is just not good for you. And you know what? I have learned is that sometimes the pressure of getting is more strenuous than the pressure of not getting. And I want to repeat that. Maybe the pressure of getting becomes more strenuous than not getting. Why? Because in getting, you also get the responsibility. It's like a woman praying for a baby, right? She's only thinking about the good, but she's not thinking about, you got to buy baby clothes, you got to buy wipes, you got to buy diapers. You know, I know because we got a whole lot of kids. You got to buy Similac, you got to buy milk, you got to buy all these other things that go with what you praying for. And so my question is, are you ready to knock on? Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to go in? Are you ready for it? Sometimes we ask, we beg, we plead with God for things that we're simply, come on, not ready for. And I don't know about you, but I got tired of standing outside. I got tired of standing outside. And so I told God, God, you know what? I'm ready or not, I got to come in. Whatever I need to do to get ready, I'm finished. I need to do this to get ready. So I start reading books, right? To make myself ready to go in. I started getting different knowledge, right? To make myself ready for what it is I was praying for. I started praying for more finances, increase my wealth. I started looking into what do wealthy people do? How to correctly prioritize my money and spend it, what to do with it once you got it. And I had to learn, right, that money is not just for spending. And so I had to prepare myself for what God was getting ready to give me. I started praying for a wife, right? And God said, I'm not going to send you a wife until I first do what? Make you a husband, right? And so I'm tired of standing outside. So I said, I'm tired of standing outside. But what that made me do is it made me make myself ready to go inside. And here's where there's a story in the Bible that the bridegroom made an appeal to everybody to come in, right? But those who came in didn't have on the proper attire. And it's like, why did you come in if you didn't prepare yourself to be in here? And here's the thing is, and I want to stress this, right? We talking about knocking. The thing that I want to stress, right, is why are you asking God for something that you only gonna misuse and misappropriate anyway? Why are you asking God for that? And there are a lot of things that God told me no about, right, because I was asking for it, but I wasn't ready to receive it. He already know. If I give my son my car and tell him to drive me across town, I'll never make it because he don't know. Come on, I want you to hear me. He don't know how to correctly use it. And so a lot of times we are praying for things that we're not ready for. If the opportunity was to present itself to you, are you ready to take advantage of the opportunity? Are your finances ready to take advantage of an investment? Are you ready to take advantage of meeting the girl of your dreams or meeting the man of your dreams? Are you ready to take advantage of it, or are you ready to just misuse and misappropriate it? He says, after you ask, you seek. When you seek, you knock. And when you knock, come on, him that asks, receive. And if you haven't received, maybe it's time to seek. Him that seeks, finds. And here it is. When you find it, right, you take advantage of it. But look, he who knocks, the door will be open. And basically, to me, that's saying, when you're ready for it, I got you. When you're ready to get it, I got you. When you're ready to do it, I'm gonna give it to you. And here's a saying, right? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. In other words, it's saying when you're ready for it, that's when God bring the things together. And so, man, hopefully something I said was encouraged you tonight. Not really a long lesson, but hey, I want to encourage you guys. Start praying for what it is that you want. Do you know what you want? Do you know what you want? That's half the battle. I didn't get it because I didn't pray for it. I wasn't praying for what it is that I really needed and wanted in my life. But when I started praying for it, I noticed that God started to shift my mind. He started to bring different things to me to help me get what it is that I had started praying for. So tonight, hopefully that encourages you tonight. Ask for it. If you ask and you haven't received it, start praying. How can I go after it? And then once you go after it, right, be always preparing to receive what it is that you've been asking God to bless you with. So, man, with that, once again, hopefully I encouraged you. Thank you guys for tuning in. We did it a little bit different tonight. So, man, I would encourage you guys, go to our website, leave your comments below if you have questions. I definitely go back and check, I read, and I do definitely respond. Visit our website, www.thegodmovement.com. It has all of the things that we're doing. We had to cancel our outreach for this weekend due to the coronavirus here in Houston, but as soon as it's lifted, right, we definitely gonna be hitting the streets. We have all the care packages ready for all the homeless people. If you want to donate, our cash app is $TGMCF. And so once again, man, visit our website, and we love you. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. I hope to see y'all next Wednesday. Now check it out. If you're in the Houston area, we have our service at 3330 Holman Street here in Houston at 8:15 on Sunday morning. You can go to our website and find out how you can be a part of that, how you can volunteer, how you can give, how you can contribute, how you can just be a blessing to not just myself, but to the entire TGM family. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Be blessed, and I will see you guys next week.